Hello there. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Marcia Butler. I'm the webinar director here at Advice Chaser. We want to welcome you. As you're coming in the webinar room, I do need to do a bit of legal housekeeping. Advice Chaser, the host of this webinar, is not a registered investment advisor. We cannot and do not give financial advice. Today's presentation is for educational purposes only and cannot be considered advice for any person's individual situation. Advice Chaser regularly hosts informative webinars such as this one, featuring a variety of knowledgeable professionals, many of whom are licensed advisors. Any opinions, ideas, jokes, or principles expressed by presenters are their own, and however true, funny, or interesting, are not endorsed by Advice Chaser. Please do not act on the information you hear today without consulting a qualified financial professional. Well, we are thrilled to bring you today's educational presentation. Just a couple of notes to our attendees. You are on mute, but we do encourage you to ask questions using the chat box. And let me go ahead and turn that feature on right now. You should be able to chat questions or comments in the chat box. The presenter will answer those queries during or after the webinar today as appropriate. If you have a question in the chat box, go ahead and leave your phone number and email address as well. And if we can't get to your question during today's event, we'll make sure someone reaches out to you. We want this experience to be as educational as possible, so please don't hesitate to ask for clarification or expansion of the material. Well, I'm really excited to introduce our speaker today. Ellen DeLapp is an award-winning certified professional organizer and productivity consultant, and is recognized for her contributions in the industry and community. She has extensive experience in working with ADHD individuals and holds certificates of study in ADD and chronic disorganization, and is a member of the Institute for Challenging Disorganization. She works with families as a family manager coach. She is currently the past president of the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals, and she holds a bachelor's degree from Smith College and a master's degree in education from Boston College. Ellen's goal is to empower her clients by making a difference in their lives. And I know we're going to have a big crowd here. If everyone hasn't come yet, I'm sure we'll get more coming in. And I'm going to turn over the time to you, Ellen.
Well, thank you, Marcia. I am very excited today because I feel like although we have had some time during COVID to dig deep in our closets and really straighten things out in our homes, the busier we have gotten since 2023 started, the harder it is for us to get organization incorporated into our lives, get organized in those spaces that are most important for us, and especially because organizing your closet is a kind of self-care. And so I'm really glad you are here today for us to share these secrets with you of organizing your closet. So of course, closets can be incredibly overwhelming, and we, with the best of intentions, still do not always be able to break through and get started doing the work we want to do in those closets. And typically, I feel like people honestly feel they have nothing to wear, but they have plenty of clothes in their closet. And so this is a matter of why we want to get organized, so you can feel the joy of all the things you have in there and go out into the universe with your clothes like a suit of armor. Because as we know, we feel a lot more confident when we feel like we look our best. Now, of course, there's a lot of I'll wear it someday. And a lot of people have been using all sorts of cast-offs in their regular attire because we had a lot more time around our house before 2023 during the COVID times. So we've kept some things that might not actually be something we still love, but we're wearing it because it feels super comfy. We also might be thinking, I need an extra set of junky clothes to go work in the garden or do any of the other crafty projects that I have. So just be thinking about what that someday might really look like, and think about a timeline for that someday. Many of us are highly visual people, out of sight is out of mind. So when our things get buried in our closet because we have so many clothes, it's really hard for us to be able to see what we have, know what we have, and be able to get dressed easily and ready to go in the morning. So it still is very hard for us to get started. One of the biggest tricks I tell people is to think about, how do you eat an elephant, which is one bite at a time. So when it's so very overwhelming, the first strategy is to really microtask in your closet. So if there's things on the floor, that might be the first place you can get started. It's still going to be hard to let things go. Recently, I was talking with a client and she said, I really want my items to go to people who need them. And right now, there's an overwhelming amount of donations that are going on to lots of wonderful philanthropies in our community. But we have to remember, we have the job of getting it out the door, and then the universe is going to take care of who gets it. So our first step is totally about decluttering. And some of the easy things that are ripped, they have holes, inappropriate holes, things that are torn. Yes, you could totally get that fixed. And if it's something you really, really love, please get someone to help you with that or do that yourself. There's a lot of clothing recycling and textile recycling going on where the items, even though you feel uncomfortable letting them go, they're being sold as rags and things like that by the philanthropies that you're donating to. So sometimes those donations can be helpful to those. In general, you want to donate things that are what is called good condition. And those are the things that are basically very wearable still. Those are clothes that are too big or too small. And many of us are holding on to those aspirational clothes, I like to call them, because we want to fit back in them. But I want to remind you, gravity happens, and sometimes we can't really fit into them the way we like. Plus, newer fabrics have a lot more stretch to them, so I love that about them. So be thinking about things that don't fit you the way you would like them to, that maybe it's time to donate or consign them. Multiples of things, so you might not even realize how many of the same pairs of black pants that you have, that you might want to let go of some of them, or just things that are not your best look. So one of my guidelines for what is your best look is, would you wear this to your high school reunion? And if that is not the case, that might not be your best look. You might be ready to let it go. My experience with consignment is that they really want things that are under a year or two old. They also want things in totally top-notch condition, and they want them barely worn and freshly dry cleaned or laundered. Consignment is a wonderful opportunity to not only make a little money back on the things that you've already spent money on, but also to help others who, the consignment in my community is a place where many people shop and get great bargains. And so it's a community event, really. So as you're thinking about decluttering, sometimes it's easiest to think about giving yourself an accountability factor, which is a date on your calendar. A lot of times you intend to do this work, but you never get around to it. So give yourself the opportunity to have an appointment with yourself for just 1 hour to get started. And you can set a timer for that 1 hour to get you moving. A lot of us have off-season storage. And before things go into off-season, I want you to think about, did I have the opportunity to wear it this year? Is it still in good condition? Is it still something that I look wonderful in? And do a little bit of extra decluttering that way. And I will tell you, this is totally a time to bring in a professional. And having an accountability partner with you in your space, helping you by reviewing what do you have, getting things grouped together that you like to wear together, getting things in the categories of the way you live your life. So grouping things for exercise, grouping things for the special occasions that are coming up soon. So having a pro in your closet, a certified professional organizer, is going to help you make those decisions more quickly, because that little bit of accountability is just a gentle pressure on your decision making.
Hey, we have a question here, Ellen. Can you explain a little more about what that experience is like if you've never worked with a professional organizer? Like, are they going to come in and like what's that process look like? I think there's probably a little fear about engaging that kind of professional.
That's an awesome question. So I think it is really a non-judgmental, empowering experience with certified professional organizers. It's not like working with a stylist, where a stylist will say these things are out of date. The certified professional organizer is going to come in and meet you where you're at in terms of what are your own goals. They're going to create a relationship that helps you make good decisions. And typically that looks like you're going to meet by having a conversation, like identifying someone in your community or virtually, because many of the professional organizers work virtually now too. And then setting your goals together, setting a time to work. And during that time to work, you're going to feel really empowered, but also you're going to create this trust relationship with your person, because they're there to help you do the work you intend to do, but we know that it's a little bit harder for you to do on your own. So definitely you're going to come away with some things you love and totally want to keep, but I want you to take the next step by putting them into some categories so that you can find things easily. Now, the things that are worn most regularly go to the front of your closet, so it's easy to access. Then if you want to easily maintain that amount of items, we have to talk a little bit about your laundry routine and how do things happen in your house that way. So if this is not something you're really strong at, this is something you can delegate. There's laundromats nearby, there's laundry services nearby. So maintaining those items is more a matter of getting them freshly laundered and then getting them back into your closet. And some of the time that maintenance is about having just enough items so that you can easily put things away. Now, for me, I'm a big believer in what's called the capsule wardrobe and the uniform. So the uniform is what you know that either you go to work in regularly or you play in regularly. So a typical uniform for people that go to work might be a certain kind of top and a certain kind of bottom. It might be a dress. It might be whatever you designate to be probably 7 to 10 outfits that you can easily come put together or keep together in your closet so that you're ready to walk out the door at any given time. So that might be for work or that might be for casual, either way. What clothes do you need for each type? How many? It's really up to you. Sometimes I find that people are going a lot more into the athleisure wear than before because it can be multi-purpose. And so people can use it not only sometimes for work, but definitely for doing a lot of the things that we have to do that are our family activities. So, there's also these few special events that are coming up in our lives now, like weddings and graduations. So we definitely need a section of our closet that is going to be for those type of items. So the biggest percentage of your clothes are clearly the ones that you use every day, but you can think about how many you need of each or where you would like to store. Sometimes we use auxiliary closets for some of the not as frequently used items. And then the capsule wardrobe has been around a while now, and I'm seeing it pop up in companies like Stitch Fix and even some online like Talbots and Chico's. And it's a group of clothes that it's like 7 to 10 items that can be used interchangeably. So it's like ideal for travel, which a lot of us are doing way more now because we just have to keep a minimum amount of clothes and maximize the number of outfits that we have going on. So when you're thinking about a color, like it might be a seasonal color, it might be the type of work you do that creates that capsule wardrobe, but there's lots of information about that right now. And it does help you declutter a bit too, because you realize how many do I need of the same thing. So when you're putting things back in the closet, I recommend putting a group of things together that are alike because I feel like it's easiest for us to find things that way. So in this image, you can see the long sleeves are together, the dresses are together. That's very typical for keeping things organized. I also like to categorize things by color and go back to that. Sometimes everything red is hung together, everything blue is hung together. It really depends on the way you approach getting ready during the day and probably the climate that you live in. And having a specific spot for each category. So I'm not only talking about clothes here. In most of our closets, we also have accessories like belts. So we want to have a specific spot to hang those and see those. There's a lot of belt hanger items that you can use, or people are using command hooks or slat wall on a wall of their closet to help hang these accessories. We also have like handbags, shoes, scarves. So those are all the things that you want to have a really specific spot. And if you're a frequent accessory changer, you want to make it easy to do those changes out. I love having the same type of hanger. And a lot of people choose the tube hangers. I recommend if you choose the tube hangers, go with just one color, just white or black or purple, whatever one color you love, because that's going to make your clothes really stand out and everything hangs at the same height. So it looks a lot more organized, which that in itself makes you feel a lot more positive about going into your closet. So there's boxes and baskets. Again, some of them are clear, and there's lots of products now that are interchangeable in all spots throughout your house of clear 8x8 bins that can hold things that you can see what you have and keep things orderly. Shoe organizers, one of the newest products I love is the drop down front shoe box, which has a little window in it. So that way you can see those special shoes. Sometimes people are just storing like our casual shoes in baskets or boxes underneath their long hang. So it's easy to see what you have, easy to access. If things are not getting back into shoe boxes, try trading out for a basket or a basket at the point of entry for some of the shoes you use on a regular basis. And then, of course, there's lots of products for belts and scarves. Choose the one that you feel like you can use the best. And if you use these items very frequently, store them in a place that you can easily access them. One of the best investments you can make in your space is a closet organization system. And there's a wide range of prices and availability in every community. So you can price things that go from a very economical at a big box store, install yourself, to a very high-end closet. The wonderful thing about that is it makes your closet defined by the way you think about your clothes. And so it's much easier to put things back. It's much easier to find things. And storage is much more maximized this way. So it's a great investment, and it also has a great return on investment when you sell your home. So all this work, which it's quite a few steps, as you've noticed, these it's not just a one and done kind of thing, because organizing is an ongoing process. As things are coming in for spring, we need to be removing things. So I'm often telling people, like, it's 1 in and 2 out, so we can keep up with how much is coming in. But the benefit is, and I'm going to have our host, Marche, talk a minute about this, there is so much less laundry. And laundry is a nightmare. Marche, do you want to speak about that for a minute?
Well, you know what, we have prepared for this one, and you know, I think I've been in my own organization journey, but I remember like I recently moved, and so I thought, you know, I really don't need all the clothes in my closet. I can just, and I had like finished the laundry for the week, and I'm just like, well, these are the clothes I wear in a week, and I packed everything else. And they haven't been unpacked. Let's just say that I've moved, and I've worn the same like 7 outfits for 3 months now. So I obviously didn't need all the clothes I had, but it's great because I don't have a lot of laundry anymore.
Exactly. And I think that if you can alleviate one stressor like extra laundry, it's well worth letting go of clothes. And many of us, out of sight is out of mind. So once they're released, we don't even remember that we had them. You're also saving quite a bit of money because you're not rebuying things you already have, because you know what you have, and then you have plenty to wear because you know exactly what's in there, when you wear it, why you love it. I mean, there's a lot of minimalism that has gigantic peace of mind is what's really going on.
All right, now we have time for some questions. And so we have several questions that have come in, and I want to remind people if they have specific questions, they're welcome to put those in as we're addressing these first ones. All right, so you had mentioned a little bit about special clothing or off-season clothing. If you have limited closet space, where do you put the formal dresses and the suits and the things that maybe you would wear once a year? They're expensive, but they take up a lot of space.
Right. So some people are using garment racks. Remember, you only want to store these in areas that have good ventilation, and storing these off-season items in a textile bag, not a plastic garment bag, because they do best. They're breathable textiles. So options are the back of your master closet, an additional closet that's in a guest room. Some people have attics and basements that they can have a additional clothing rack and store items there. So just be creative about this, but also remember that whatever space you put this in, you want to remember you have it too, so it's not forgotten.
All right. Someone asked about a couple different methods of cleaning, if you can talk about, or organizing, if you can talk about that, like the Marie Kondo method, or they've heard of Swedish death cleaning. Can you talk about those?
I'm super familiar with them. First of all, I love that people have so many ways to think about decluttering because it's so motivating. So Marie Kondo, her strategy is to talk about what items spark joy for you. And I totally believe in that for our clothes, because if we feel good in our clothes, we look good in our clothes. So we should keep the things that really spark joy for us. And, that's a wide range of number of items, because that could be any number of a certain type of item, or it could be multiple ways that we dress depending on the occasion that we're going to. So I believe that now, I do differ a little bit with Marie Kondo in that I do not think you should empty your entire master closet onto your bed, because I feel like that is extremely overwhelming, and potentially you could not be sleeping in your bed that evening. So I do think you should break it into much more smaller segments. One thing Marie says is work by category. So I love that. Definitely work on grouping, gathering up the things that are in one category and then decluttering in that category. Now, Swedish death cleaning is definitely in vogue right now. I've worked with several people that have that in mind, and that is in preparation for our demise. And they're thinking about what would we want the people after us to have to declutter for us. And so that is really keeping the future in mind and having less now, so that is not a responsibility for someone after us. And I think that's a very motivating perspective as well, because many of us have kept things just in case, because we think we might be using them. So either of those are highly motivating ways for us to move forward with our organizing.
All right, another question here. What if you have a lot of bulky sweaters, like sweatshirts, sweatpants, t-shirts, that you can't store in a closet or dressers, and they're actually worn regularly? So bulky items worn regularly, maybe some storage solutions there.
Right. So when I think about the different ways we store things, having a bookshelf in your closet, which sounds kind of like, why? That could be a great storage solution, and a very affordable solution if you have the space in there, because those can be folded as opposed to hung. Again, you can see everything because it's open. And then you're thinking about the groups. So sweatshirts together, sweatpants together. Generally speaking, people have a dresser. The dresser might be in or out of your closet, whatever. It can be, there's one drawer for socks, there's one drawer for undies. There's one drawer for lingerie, sleeping things. There's one drawer for any of those floppy things that don't really hang very well. So I'm thinking about a single slot for a single category, so to speak. So a lot of us have high up shelves that are in our closet that are above our long hang. So get a little step stool, like there's affordable ones that are only 1 or 2 steps. So we can get up to those heights to use them, especially when it's off season.
All right, here's another question. My kid's closet is a huge mess and I'd like them to be able to maintain it, but I don't think they have the discipline to hang things up or fold things and put them away.
There's no rules about how we set up our closets, especially for our kids. I was working with a client this week, 4 kids, 4 laundry baskets. Now, the tricky thing is the laundry baskets are a mix of clean and dirty is what happens. So you have to be sure that dirty clothes, there's a spot where they take a bath, that those things have a spot to go there so that you have like a system. So clean clothes come in a basket. They bring them to their room, you bring them to the room, whichever one can, or they're stored in the laundry room, which is what I see a lot, because that way they don't actually have to go anywhere because that's where laundry is being done. But they never get undressed in the laundry room. So they're getting undressed in their room or by the bathroom, in the bathroom. So just be sure you have a collection there that will take the dirty things and you can segment out what's dirty. The clean things, don't worry about folding them. Just throw them into the basket. So that way you don't have to stress about, like, I'm getting them, all folded, but my kids are messing it up. Nope, they just go into the basket. And in fact, I've heard a lot about different partners use this system too. The husband or the wife, they're not as happy with hanging things as one of the other partners. So they use the dedicated clean basket. So yeah, you can make it really easy for your kids to be partners on this by simplifying whatever process you're using for laundry.
All right. This is maybe not specifically about closets, but I thought it was a good one. This person says, I have a storage unit. I like having a place where things are not in my home, but I really would like to go to a smaller storage unit and I need to declutter. It is brimming full of stuff.
So I find that people get storage when life transitions happen. And what is happening is you don't always have time to address or make the decisions about the things that are moving from one space to another. So it's definitely worthy of you going back into the storage and bringing a certified professional organizer with you, because they will help you. When I think of storage, I think of lots of things and large items. So that's not a single person job. Bring your professional with you, and at first just walk around and talk about the goals of what your storage is. I have a client that moved things from because they were creating a large size office in their garage. So they moved items in their garage to storage, and they intend to have storage. And a lot of it is keepsakes of the items that are in there. So keepsakes, if you're in a small space, it's a really good use of storage. But if there's other things like decor and your decor has evolved and you're not even going back to that decor, those are things you can make decisions on. If it's things that came from a parent or another family member that you are keeping because they're a cherished keepsake, like that's sometimes where furniture comes in, that's sometimes where dishes, all sorts of keepsakes are being stored in storage. So just know what you have in there and then take an inventory so that when you want to come back to it in a year or so, that way you know, okay, I made these decisions. Let me see if there's another decision that I can make so I can have fewer things in there and move to a smaller space.
All right. This is going to probably be variable, but this question just came in. Is there a place to find professional organizers and some resources on that? And then also, can you give us a range on the cost?
Absolutely. So I'm a member of the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals. Some of us are certified professional organizers, and the website is napo.net. And the first thing comes up is a search tool for you to find someone in your area. So the range of prices is from $50 to $150 an hour, but most people work in project fees, session fees, things like that. So when you're looking for your certified professional organizer, you want to be thinking, who do I really connect with? Because you're going to be sharing a lot of information with them. They're trustworthy, so of course you can share that with them, but at the same time, you want to feel a connection to them so that you can feel that they're an ally and a partner with you in the work you have to do.
All right. So I wanted you to say that website again.
Okay, it's NAPO, NAPO.net.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll round things out with a couple more questions, and then we're going to let our audience have their day back. This person said a relative passed away recently. I'm sorry to hear about your loss. And I'm helping clean out the home. Is there an efficient way to do this? I only have a couple weeks to get it done.
Yes, and I'm so sorry for your loss too. That is one of the most difficult situations, is to have a loss and have like a very short timeline to do the work that needs to be done. First step, I would say, is to find the things that you find important, even if it is grandma's tea set, even if it is grandma's or grandpa's wallet, things like that. There's different things that mean different emotional ties for different family members. Building a team is really important when you're working on a large project like this. So if you can get people in your family, again, certified professional organizers can help you with this. So just building a bigger team will help you have more manpower, and that way you'll be able to execute this more effectively.
All right. And then one more question. You said getting two out when you bring one in. Is there a good way to do this? I'm really good about bringing one in, but not great about taking anything else out.
Well, I love this strategy called the tournament method. So it kind of goes like that March Madness situation. So, you pull up two things you want to look at, and you're like, okay, which one do I really want to keep and which one do I really love? So one of them stays and one of them goes. So yes. So the ways to reinforce that are to start a new routine. One of the easiest things is have a handled bag in your closet. And the first time you decide not to wear something, put it in that little shopping bag. And once your shopping bag is filled, off it goes to donate. So just breaking things into baby steps makes it much, much easier.
Started talking and there was the my mute was on. Well, I want to thank everyone for being here, and I want to thank Ellen for being such an interesting speaker today. We want to remind you that this has been recorded, and you will be getting a link to the email. I'm sorry, a link to the replay of this webinar in your email in the next day or so. So look to that. You're welcome to share that with friends or family. Here at Advice Chaser, we're all about helping you find a financial advisor who's a great fit for your life and your financial questions. Our matching service is free to you, and every one of our advisor partners has committed to offer a free initial consultation to anyone we introduce them to. Find out more by going to advicechaser.com and clicking on the link to find an advisor. Well, once again, from Advice Chaser, thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you at another webinar soon. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.